welcome to this episode of Front Runner 2020. The next question comes from Johnny. Go ahead, Johnny.
Hey. Hi, Sean. Thank you for spending time with us this evening. As a committed telephone volunteer for many, many years, I have, I volunteer to do that because I actually enjoy it. I've found that information gathering by phone, if it's done really early on, can help the list be corrected before you actually do what you were talking about, the mailing part and the actual candidate walking the street. How do you feel about this? I've found it to be very valuable.
Absolutely. Actually, what I call it is virtual canvassing, virtual walking, especially if you're doing it live and you're actually talking to people directly. One of there are limitations to every system. Field programs have limitations based on high-density residential areas like condo complexes or gated communities. They're very difficult to canvass, and the vehicle that you were just talking about is probably the only possible, beyond mail, the only possible way to get into those neighborhoods. So in that respect, it can't be replaced. But absolutely, you use phones, field program, the voter reg to basically narrow your field of potential voters, because you're right, once you start spending postage, that's serious money. And as much as I do appreciate the U.S. Postal Service, it's the campaign money, and every dollar needs to go into finding a vote. And phone calling, especially volunteers that care and are really engaged, are very important. There are some technology barriers, like cell phones, for example, that come into play there. And I'm sure Ron will have a workshop like this on technology and and how it's changing in the future. But we won't get into that now. But absolutely, phone call is very important, and it is. I've told Ron I consider it virtual canvassing, because although not everyone has a landline, but a lot of people do, and older voters certainly do, and they are also more of the reliable voters. So calling will never not be important. In fact, calling will just change and become more important as the technology allows.
Thanks.
No problem.
Okay, thank you, Johnny. Our next question comes from John. So from Johnny to John. Go ahead, John.
Hi, Ron and Sean. Can you hear me?
Yes, thanks for participating,
Okay.
John. I appreciate you.
Okay. My question is somewhat similar. I have about 20,000 square miles in a newly redistricted House district. Almost all of them are going to be rural, or 1 acre or more. So walking door to door isn't really a possibility.
No, sir.
What do you recommend for this? And
that
isn't always available either.
Okay. And at that point, what you want to look at is quite frankly, in rural areas, there's mail, of course. You want to actually look at if internet's an issue, which of course it would be. We have areas in Texas that you've literally just described. I've worked in field programs in every county between here and Dallas and Texarkana, so I understand there are some real issues with canvassing in rural areas. Canvassing is absolutely not an option. Unless you have small towns in that rural area, then you can do limited amounts. But even then, the density is not high enough. If you go back to those 2 maps that I had, the one that shows you per square mile, you can actually literally see where the Trinity River runs, because if you look at the voters per square mile, there are no voters in the Trinity River bottoms. Yeah, your best bet, in my advice, would be to do television and radio, but I would be smart about it. I would put a technology component. They may not have internet, but I guarantee you they'll have cell phones.
Okay, so would you buy a subscription to a real sophisticated voter
We'll have at
file?
least the use of the voter file with texting, and it would be like a thing would pop up on the television, and it would be like, "Hi, my name is, John, and I'm running for this. And you do your 3 quick points of why you're running or what you're running on, and then you say if you like more information, text 92473 or 2012, whatever you want, whatever number you're able to get to text John to 2437, and then you'll be able to collect all those cell phone numbers, and then you can start getting a push and pull effect with some data. Do you understand? And Ron Turner actually knows a lot about this, and as far as working in the texting universe and being able to harvest information. The smartest thing, and this is going to be a quick little anecdote, I know we're coming down to the end of the hour, smartest thing I ever saw in campaigning when it comes to cell phones and gathering data was Obama, when he used those short little parts of his speeches on his campaign trail. This isn't a white America, it's not a black America, it's the United States of America. Well, he turned all those into ringtones. And the only way you could get that ringtone was if you, online registered for it. And I think within 48 hours, 2 million cell phones. Now, you're not going to do that, but you could imagine what you could do with 3,000 cell phone numbers in a rural district. That would be whole counties. So,
right.
So but always, always be considering whatever you do for outreach. Make sure that there's some kind of data retrieval aspect to it, and you only want like 1 or 2% of everyone who sees that to respond, and you'll have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of data sets that you can then use as GeoTV.